going on, everybody? Goose on the 13th here with another video checking out the suit for the week of the 2nd of April 2026. Just one shy of April Fools here. But we got another suit for Rarity 3, the Berga Giros GK, which apparently, if we look at the explanation here, is actually a UC engaged suit. And you are not hallucinating. This thing does have two bugs mounted on its shoulders that it uses as part of its weapon kit. So let's get into that for a little bit. Anyone who has been missing using the Berga in general, maybe it hasn't really had enough presence or, you know, accumulation and stuff, this is a pretty good supplement going on here when it comes to the hob bugs and stuff. Interesting that they also call them hob bugs. But we have our usual launch here: piercing, 3000 damage, 3 shots, range of 350, cooldown time of 4, and reload of 8. The Saber having a very similar downswing to most of these suits, to be honest. Just a big swipe into an advancing, like, outer swing. As well as the Shot Lancer Collision. You do not get any kind of, like, poke for boosting with it out for a certain amount of time. It's just a regular neutral into a very far ranging downswing. So if you're familiar with the Berga, when you don't get rid of your nozzles, you do get a very good one with like solid reach, and you just have that all the time in this one because you don't launch them this time, even though you do have them. Heavy machine gun, good amount of accumulation on this. Also has mobile firing, and we'll get into some of the mobile firing stuff later. But hot bugs launched, so lock on 1000 per hit, ammo of 1, range 250. So in general, very midliney, kind of stumpy with how much these reach. But they swipe around. Even though they do swipe around and do stuff, they're not melee, they are actually ballistic damage. So hold down the attack button and select units firing targets attack on release. We'll show you the pattern when we get into practice. And then we also have our hot bug sensor. So these are just something they float around near you, they passively damage stuff. It's kind of like the fail not, except that it doesn't react to you firing, I don't think. They just do it. So pressing the button deploys 2 hot bugs that temporarily stay nearby and automatically attack enemy units in range. If your unit is down during deployment, they will overheat and be disabled. Good amount of accumulation, 400 per thing, and they do go in like decent amount of bursts. I think the only thing that kind of fucks with them a little bit is that they aren't like 200 flat meters, it's just 150. Very short, stubby kind of Vulcan range on there. But you also have a beam shield, 2400 flat damage, size small, 5500, and then of course it has the cooldown time, overheat, and all that good stuff. Moving on to these stats and skills here. 22k for the health. Ballistic beam and melee defense are 26, 24, and 28 respectively. Range strength of 35, melee strength of 35, so they're keeping a pretty even kill because they do want you to mix things up, although if we're being frank, considering everything that happens with the bugs and all that shit, you're probably better off putting a little bit more than anything into range. Movement speed of 140, top speed of 225, thruster gauge of 80, and a turning speed of 81. Part slots wise, we had 20, 19, and 13 for close, medium, and long respectively. And looking at the skills here, Leg Shock Absorber 3, Emergency Evasion System 2, Flight Control Program 4, Glide Structure 3, and Fall Prevention. So you're not super duper safe because you are in a cost where the Barbatos can also just, you know, hit you out with a heavy stagger. There's a lot of cumulative stuff. You know, the Destiny's running around in here, has a lot of Garobi shit going on. But for basic fire, you're doing okay here. Anti-Blast Stabilizer 1, Melee Composite System 1, Aerial Melee System 1, High Spec Ambac 2, Maneuver Armor 1, Force Injector 4, Optimized Cooling Efficiency 2, High Performance Radar 3, Flat Booster 2. So you won't be burning through it too much, but if you have an auxiliary burner and stuff like that, it's probably a good thing to put on the suit anyway. High speed mobile shooting. So this is a little bit weird because the S nozzle controller is also here. So mobile shooting, you do get a little bit of extra time with that, and you don't get your boost back. That's the big thing, because S nozzle controller gives us this. When bugs are used, attack and mobility are boosted, and the enhanced offense system skill is provided. Also, thruster consumption and stagger buildup from high-speed movement are reduced. Weapons compatible with this skill can be used during high-speed movement. So, you get you get mobile shooting for using these. Having them out also means that you're sipping even less boost. So unless you're just so used to having the mobile shooting all the time, this doesn't replenish your boost or anything, but it will let you do stuff if you do have some left and you just know that your bugs aren't going to come up fast enough. Now, because they are ranged, you can't affect these with the usual cooldown stuff for ballistic, you know, reloaders, yada yada. But beyond that, honestly, they come up fast enough. Between the overheat for this being 10 and the overheat for this being 18, you can throw down another one of these and get a good amount of time, and then even after that, you know, just a little bit of hang time and these will be back up. So typically, and I'll show you when we get into practice, but I do one and the other. And the sequence is pretty good. Well, before we do that, actually, hold on. Let us look at the enhancements. So, +1 to melee resistance, +1 to range strength, +100 to unit HP. Complex expansion comes in here at 2770. And in the unlockables, we have +5 to melee resistance and +5 to range strength. So actually, with that extra, so that's +6. So you're pretty much at 41 baseline with that all in there. So not bad. A little bit easier to get it to 50 or even 60 depending on what you're doing. Slot age wise, it's a little bit tough because they're really constricting the amount of long range that you have, and that's gonna fuck with a lot of your other side parts. But you know, that's for you guys to figure out. For now though, let us get into the usual stuff here in the practice room. So, typical junk going on here. It pierces. That's crazy. Let's also check out the amount of accumulation. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. For something that's a little bit more normal. Very fast rate of fire in general. So definitely not gonna have to worry about that too much. So for the hob bugs, we got the regular lock-on. One thing to keep in mind is that both of these work on accumulation. Even when they're colliding like that, unlike, for example, the Toad's Ritter, these do not instant stagger. So that's a little bit rough, but that's not something that you're used to. You're gonna have to keep that in mind. And obviously, you know, you got the machine gun, you got the lance, you can push through a lot of people's stuff pretty easy. And as you can see there, because the hobbug lock-on is so fast, that's pretty good. So, I would say it's like 4 shots? But it's ×2, so you get a lot of accumulation on there per hit, and then you just, you know, toss out these, get in there, do what you gotta do. Let me see something. Whee! Yeah, that's a lot. So I think the one thing that's kind of holding this back when it comes to some of the aerial stuff is when you're switching, you really got a lot of ready up time. Also keep in mind, kind of like how you saw there, the it leads really hard and out to the right. There's going to be a lot of times where you think that you're going to at least glance them, and it doesn't happen. Obviously, the downswing on the saber is a lot more generous if you're able to do certain things. Like, say, do like a hard land into the swing. Let's see if I can try to get that in here. You know, you can lead it down if you actually let it go down hard enough, stuff like that. And also the shield. Smack. Can parry that. I'm going to be honest with you, you're going to be so mobile most of the time that I don't know if you're really going to find time for that unless you're really pinned down. But it's nice to have, just in case. In general, though, because it does have flaps too, you're not losing too much. Even with no ox burner or extra boost, it's just, you know, it helps so that you can kind of keep that and maintain, especially when you do a lot of redirects and things like that. The other thing to keep in mind, when this is probably pretty obvious, is it doesn't really do a lot of damage to the base. The lock-on hobs, you know, don't do a lot. The passive shots won't come out of it for anything but suits. So it's not gonna lock on to the base or anything like that. And the machine gun's just kind of whatever. So, outside of the shot lancer, probably not super worth it to throw that around. It's probably better off just keeping the suits off of whatever double Zeta or whatever is going to be doing the actual base damage itself. Although, obviously, because you do have that, you can pierce through that and stop anyone who's trying to bomb your own base. But that is kind of the long and short of it. Another Berga Giros. You know, the bug thing is interesting. Leave it to fucking UC Engage to have something like that. But we do have a match that we got in there with. This is a rough cost for something like this to be in. I'm honestly thinking that this probably should have just been like a 650 suit, 700 with all the ballistic resistance stuff and just general high resistance. This being an accumulation suit with the bugs and all that is interesting because it is able to shred things decently with range and stuff. But you're gonna see in this match that despite that, it still has some struggles. We'll put that match right around here.
出撃準備完了しています。モビルスーツ隊は順次発進してください。
Let's try this again. Jeez.
作戦開始。
Oh God. Another blunder. And of course, everything's gonna have more priority than me. That's the rough thing.
再出撃の場所と方法を選んでください。再出撃お願いします。味方が敵モビルスーツをやりましたよ。敵モビルスーツを撃破。敵のジャミングだ。中継地点の制圧確認しました。敵が中継地点を制圧しています。中継地点の制圧確認しました。敵拠点への攻撃始まったみたいです。味方がやられた。敵拠点の損害拡大しています。大丈夫ですよ。ちょっと待って。
Oh my god. Fucking jump or shoot. Everyone's fucking dead. Oh my god. Dude, one of our suits just go full bozo and drop by himself. Oh my god. Come on. Stay in there. Where did 4 drop from?
ミングだ。
Oh my god. Enough with the melee shit.中継地点の制圧確認しました。I think our guys over there again, picking at the base. No, but somebody stopped them. It's time to do it again, but... Just so you say, oh god. Of course. It seems like paneling wise and color should be pretty easy though. Oh. That's a hassle, but yeah, it's interesting because in a lot of ways it feels like just being back in the burger, but with some more like cover for yourself feels really good.
今回
So
の
we're already partially pulled for it on our alt account. So I'll probably commit to it. It's just gonna take a few days to get the rest of the tokens necessary over there to get it done.
Making preparations?
And that was our game in the War Crime Berga Giros. It still baffles me that it's bugs. Just put bugs on this thing. But yeah, in a lot of situations, the old jump and shoot from the Barbatos is gonna hassle you. You really gotta try to, you know, lean on your flaps a little bit, and committing to melee, even though you do have a little bit of versatility in this suit, is always gonna be dangerous. You know, the passive hob bugs are very good for kind of putting some pressure on people, especially when it comes to accumulation and stuff. And in general, you know, you always kind of want that attack boost going on when you move in as well, because that's just a general boost. So I like it. I don't think it's going to replace any of the already crazy bullshit at 700 once again. And it's been made very clear that stuff like the Barbatos is pretty much here to stay. The interesting thing about this, though, is that this is another very ballistic heavy suit. And little by little, we are starting to see, at least in my rating range, you know, when it comes to A+ yada yada, that people are gradually bringing out the Destiny again more than they have been recently. Not that it's ever really gone away, but you know, when the IBO stuff came, there was a lot of really heavy Barbatos usage. You know, people have kind of gone back to doing like flap heavy suits to try to keep away from it, try to kite it and all this other stuff. This suit kind of follows that trend ultimately as well, in a very aggressive manner. But because the Destiny has that ballistic resistance skill and all that other stuff, while also having just a lot of beam bars, so the exact opposite damage output wise in that regard, it's actually seeing even more success than it already was before. So, you know, get ready for that. If people actually get in there, and heaven forbid that there's ever a rerun banner, you're probably going to see a lot more of them running around if this trend continues. But for now, that is the long and short of it for the new Berga Giros Bug Boy. I think it's neat. I'm gonna try to get this on my alt account. I'm playing this through Asian Noob Summit as usual, sponsored by. But I already committed to that banner on there. So later on in the week, when I do get that final roll for the guarantee, we'll be playing this, at least on the alt, for a few rounds at a time. Because I actually like this. Compared to some of the other stuff, it's just nice to have something that's a little bit different. I really loved playing as the Berga Giros regular. It just kind of felt like it fell behind in a lot of aspects, because it didn't have that extra pressure without you having to lose some of your mobility by using those nozzles. And this doesn't really compromise in the same way, outside of just having a new kind of like gimmick going on, which I enjoy. So go look if you spin for it. Definitely not super necessary, but you're probably going to see a fair amount of them kicking around. Especially because we are in the middle of Spring Festival. You bet your ass that the last week is probably going to be something a little bit crazier than all that. But, you know, this is kind of fun. I'm glad that they are leaning so heavily into using Engage, because it's just a lot of really neat gimmick and what if kind of suits coming out. But that'll be all for our video today. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know if you guys spun for it or how you feel about this suit so far in the comments. And until next time, hopefully I will see you guys in the next video.